Choosing the best 4K TV in 2026 has become surprisingly difficult because the biggest brands are no longer competing with the same technology or even the same idea of what a flagship television should be. OLED is getting brighter, Mini LED is becoming dramatically more precise, and new RGB backlight designs are pushing color in a completely different direction. The most interesting part of this ranking is that my number one is neither the brightest TV nor the one with the highest refresh rate. Yet one advantage makes it the television I would choose if I wanted the most complete picture experience. I rank these TVs based on the things that actually matter after the specifications stop being exciting, including contrast, HDR impact, color performance, motion, gaming features, bright room usability, streaming quality, and how easy each television is to recommend to someone who wants one screen for almost everything. Starting at number 5, we have the Hisense U8QG, and there is a reason this television remains extremely difficult to ignore even as newer 2026 models arrive. The U8QG is built around Hisense's Mini LED Pro system and can reach up to 5,000 nits of claimed peak brightness, which gives it the kind of HDR power that immediately stands out when you watch bright outdoor scenes, explosions, sunlight, reflections, or colorful highlights. This level of brightness is also extremely useful in a living room where large windows and ambient light can make less powerful televisions look washed out during the day. Hisense combines that brightness with local dimming and strong black level performance, which prevents the U8QG from simply becoming an excessively bright screen. Dark scenes retain convincing depth, while small HDR highlights can remain intense without lifting the entire background, creating the kind of contrast that makes movies and premium streaming content feel much more cinematic. Gaming is another major reason the U8QG remains competitive, because its native 165Hz refresh capability gives PC gamers plenty of headroom, while PS5 and Xbox Series X owners get the high refresh rate, VRR, and low latency features that matter for modern console gaming. The anti-reflection treatment also makes long daytime gaming sessions easier in bright rooms, which is something OLED alternatives can sometimes struggle with depending on the environment. The biggest reason the U8QG sits at number 5 rather than higher is not that it suddenly feels outdated, but that the rest of this list pushes either processing, local dimming, OLED precision, or color performance to another level. However, if current discounts bring the U8QG significantly below the other TVs here, this could easily become the strongest value in the entire ranking. At number 4 is the TCL QM8L, and this is where the latest generation of high-performance Mini LED starts showing just how aggressive TCL has become. The QM8L uses SQD Mini LED technology with up to 4,000 local dimming zones and up to 6,000 nits of claimed peak brightness depending on screen size and testing conditions. Those numbers are impressive, but what makes the television interesting is how TCL is trying to combine extreme brightness with much finer control of the backlight rather than simply chasing a more dramatic HDR specification. During movies, this allows bright highlights such as sunlight, fire, reflections, or city lights to stand out against darker scenes with stronger separation, while sports and daytime television benefit from enough overall brightness to maintain their visual impact even when the room is not perfectly controlled. Color is another major part of the QM8L's appeal, with TCL targeting the full BT 2020 color gamut through its SQD approach. That gives animation, nature documentaries, games, and visually stylized movies the kind of saturated but expansive color presentation that can make HDR material feel noticeably more intense than it does on a conventional QLED display. The QM8L is also one of the strongest gaming choices in this ranking because it combines a native 144Hz panel with VRR, FreeSync Premium Pro, Auto Low Latency Mode, and game accelerator features that can go beyond the native refresh rate under specific conditions. More importantly, all of those gaming capabilities sit alongside strong HDR performance rather than forcing you to choose between a great gaming monitor and a great television. Dolby Vision IQ, HDR10+, IMAX Enhanced, and Filmmaker Mode also make the QM8L extremely flexible for movies and streaming, while Google TV gives you access to all the major services without forcing you into an external streaming box. If you are comparing any of these televisions, I have included links in the description, so check the current prices before making a decision, because the gap between two models can sometimes matter more than the difference on the specification sheet. At number 3, we move away from Mini LED entirely with the Samsung S90H, and this is where the ranking becomes much more interesting, because the S90H does not need thousands of dimming zones to create exceptional contrast. Every OLED pixel produces its own light and can switch off completely when the image requires true black, which means the S90H can place a tiny bright object directly beside a completely dark area without creating the blooming that even excellent Mini LED televisions can occasionally reveal. Stars, headlights, subtitles, candles, and reflections appear with pixel-level precision, giving dark movies and cinematic games an incredibly clean sense of depth. The S90H also addresses one of the traditional weaknesses of OLED with Samsung's glare-free treatment. Perfect blacks are much less impressive when you can see a bright window reflected across them, so reducing those reflections makes the S90H more practical for a living room that is used throughout the entire day, rather than only for nighttime movie sessions. Gaming performance is exceptional as well, with support for refresh rates up to 165 Hz, extremely fast OLED response, VRR, FreeSync Premium Pro, and low input lag. PS5 and Xbox Series X cannot take advantage of the full 165 Hz ceiling, but both consoles benefit from 4K high refresh gaming, while PC users have additional headroom available. Samsung's NQ4 AI Gen 3 processor is another reason the S90H earns such a high position. Not everything you watch is native 4K HDR, so upscaling, noise reduction, motion processing, and the ability to make lower quality streaming or broadcast sources look clean on a premium panel remain extremely important. There is one significant limitation, and that is Samsung's continued absence of Dolby Vision. Netflix, Disney+, Apple TV, and 4K Blu-ray collections contain plenty of Dolby Vision material, so viewers who consider the format essential may prefer Sony or another competing OLED brand. Even with that omission, the S90H earns number 3 because it delivers something neither of the first two TVs can completely replicate: perfect pixel-level black control combined with exceptional gaming responsiveness. If you primarily watch movies in a dark room or play cinematic games at night, you could easily argue that this should be number 1 for your particular setup. At number 2 is the TCL X11L, and this is where the specifications become almost difficult to believe. TCL positions the X11L as the pinnacle of its Mini LED lineup, with up to 20,736 precise dimming zones and up to 10,000 nits of claimed HDR brightness on the largest configurations. Rather than relying on a relatively small number of lighting zones behind the LCD panel, TCL is pushing the density of the backlight much further in an attempt to reduce blooming while preserving the brightness advantage that makes Mini LED so attractive. The result is a television designed to produce enormous HDR impact. Bright sunlight, explosions, reflections, stadium lights, and specular highlights can reach a level of intensity that OLED cannot currently match across the same areas of the screen, while the huge number of dimming zones allows the X11L to maintain much stronger black control than traditional LED televisions. Its SQD Mini LED system also targets an extremely wide color gamut, which becomes particularly impressive in HDR movies and games where intense brightness and saturated color have to appear simultaneously. Instead of highlights simply becoming white as brightness increases, the goal is to preserve richer color information at those higher luminance levels. TCL also equips the X11L with a WHVA 2.0 panel designed to improve native contrast and viewing performance, while the anti-reflection characteristics make this television especially suitable for bright living rooms. For someone who watches a lot of sports during the day or has large windows that cannot easily be covered, the X11L has a clear practical advantage over displays that perform their best only in controlled lighting. Gaming is equally ambitious, with a full signal path capable of 4K at 144 Hz and game accelerator support reaching higher refresh rates under compatible conditions. Combined with VRR and modern gaming features, this makes the X11L suitable for consoles while still offering enough performance to interest high-end PC gamers. Even the audio system is more ambitious than usual, with Bang & Olufsen involved in the sound design, which means buyers who do not immediately add a dedicated soundbar may get a more substantial built-in experience than they would from many ultra-thin premium TVs. So why is a television with more than 20,000 dimming zones and claimed 10,000 nit HDR performance not number one? Because specifications are only one part of what makes a television consistently great. That brings us to number one, the Sony Bravia 9 II, and this is where the open loop from the beginning gets resolved. Sony is taking a different approach from both OLED and traditional mini-LED with its true RGB backlight technology, where red, green, and blue light sources can be controlled independently rather than starting with a conventional white or blue LED backlight and relying primarily on filters or quantum dots to create the final colors. The potential advantage is not simply a larger color gamut on a specification sheet, but stronger color volume at high brightness. A television can technically reproduce a wide range of colors and still lose saturation when those colors become extremely bright, whereas Sony's approach is designed to maintain richer reds, greens, and blues while simultaneously producing the intense luminance expected from a flagship HDR display. That can matter enormously in real content. Sunsets, neon signs, bright clothing, fire, colorful reflections, landscapes, and highly saturated HDR effects can retain more of their character instead of gradually becoming pale as brightness increases. Sony's other advantage is processing. Because its flagship televisions have traditionally focused on making the final image look natural, rather than simply pushing contrast and saturation as far as possible. The XR processor analyzes different elements within the scene to optimize clarity, color, contrast, and motion, which becomes especially valuable when watching lower quality streams, broadcast television, older movies, or sports where source quality can vary dramatically. The Bravia 9 II also supports Dolby Vision, which gives it an immediate advantage over the Samsung S90H for viewers with large streaming or disc collections, while 4K at 120 Hz, VRR, and All-M provide the gaming capabilities that current consoles actually need. It does not offer the S90H's 165 Hz ceiling, and competitive PC gamers may therefore find Samsung or TCL more attractive, but for PS5 and Xbox Series X users, 120 Hz already covers the maximum output used by the consoles in supported games. Sony also offers the Bravia 9 II across an unusually wide range of sizes, extending all the way to a massive 115-inch model, which means the same flagship picture philosophy can work in a conventional living room or a dedicated large-screen home theater. And that explains why it takes my number one position despite not winning every individual specification. The TCL X11L is the television I would choose if I wanted extreme brightness and spectacular mini-LED performance, while the Samsung S90H would be extremely difficult to beat if perfect blacks and OLED gaming response were my priorities. The TCL QM8L provides an excellent combination of high-end features and performance, while the Hisense U8QG may become the smartest value purchase when discounts are taken into account. The Sony Bravia 9 II wins because it brings together exceptional color, very strong contrast, high HDR brightness, premium processing, excellent motion handling, Dolby Vision support, and enough gaming performance for modern consoles without building the entire television around one extreme specification. If I were buying specifically for gaming, my order could change, and if I were building a darkroom movie theater, the Samsung S90H would become much more tempting. Likewise, someone with an extremely bright living room might reasonably prefer the TCL X11L, while a buyer focused on maximizing performance per dollar could choose the Hisense U8QG and never feel that they had made a bad decision. But this is the overall ranking, where one television has to handle movies at night, sports during the day, compressed streaming content, high-quality HDR, PS5 or Xbox gaming, and ordinary everyday television without requiring the room or the user to adapt around it. For that reason, my number one 4K TV in 2026 is the Sony Bravia 9 II, followed closely by the TCL X11L and Samsung S90H. More importantly, I would not automatically buy number one without comparing prices, because this particular group contains several televisions that become dramatically more attractive the moment a major discount appears. Before making your decision, compare today's prices, availability, and buyer reviews using the links in the description below, because this is a category where one major promotion can move a television from 5 to the strongest deal in the entire list.